All right, call this meeting to order, the July 23rd, 2026 work session. And just let you all know, this is going to be a true work session. We're trying something, like we're bringing it back. I guess used to be the work sessions, we sat around a round table, we talked. The idea here is, and I'm sure we won't always stick to it exactly, but to kind of do like a TikTok format where we have a work session, we work on items. Out of that, we take it back to staff, together, our formal proposal, resolution, ordinance, whatever it is, and then we vote on it in a regular session. So we'll see how that goes. So when we get to it, we'll talk. I'll make sure that everybody has a chance to do a round table sort of thing. From there. With that, we have electronic participation on agenda 2. We don't have any council members out, but we do have the attorney, Andrea, online. Andrea, do you hear us? Say hi. Maybe not.
Did you mute her all the way?
Yeah. I'm here.
All right. Yeah. You can hear us okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Thank you.
All right. All right. Agenda item 3, roll call. Ms. Austin? Here. Mr. Tunin? Here. Ms. Courtney? Here. Robbie Wilson's here. Ms. Justice? Here. Ms. Lowe? Here. And Mr. Murray? Here. All right. Item 4, Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, moving on. Item number 5, review and adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented the agenda for
Second.
All right. And all the phase. All right. We have a vote.
Aye.
All in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And she's taking control of that. That's all I know. All right. Next item is approval of the minutes from the July 9th meeting.
Motion to approve the meeting of the minutes from the July 9th meeting.
Second.
All right.
I'd just like to say they were very nicely done, very thorough. Jerry and Robbie do those together, so
Yeah,
thank you for
working on our
acknowledging
system.
that. Yeah.
Again, that's pretty good. And a lot of that comes off of these videos, so make sure you kind of speak clearly. Helps a lot. Huge. All right, do my roll call vote, right?
Ms. Austin?
Not roll call, I'm sorry, we do it by ayes. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. What? All right, item 7, public comment number 1. Does anybody sign up?
I am.
Check. Everybody did it.
I didn't see any on the website.
Okay. All right, nobody has signed up for public comment number 1. Moving on. Item 8, work session matters. So Ms. Lowe, I guess the background is here, but Ms. Lowe was a member of the BZA, and she has had to resign with her appointment to council. So in the last meeting, I was directed to put together a form for public interest on that, and also this packet. If you all are okay with it, I'm going to put this description on the website along with the packet. It explains kind of what the BZA is and a little bit of sales pitch for why you should volunteer. Basically, it's quasi-judicial because it gets appointed by the circuit court, but you're basically it's a safety valve for a zoning decision. So if the zoning board has a decision on a zoning matter and somebody contests it, this board is then called to have a meeting to be selected later on top of that. Anyway, this form is here in your packet. I will have the copies available to the public at the town hall, and they'll also be on the website shortly. So if you're interested in volunteering, we greatly appreciate it. You do need to be a town resident. Doesn't happen very often. I'm not real sure when the last time it was called. It's been quite a while, probably in the numbers in years. Probably been 2 years or so.
Bobby,
Yeah,
there's some printed on the table over there.
Thank you. Sure. All right. So the only recommendation here is for you all to authorize the staff to go ahead and advertise this. If you're okay with this form, move on from that. I'm good.
I made a motion to authorize the staff to advertise the BG, vacancy.
Yeah.
And the interest form as well.
Second.
All the ayes?
Aye.
All right. All right, getting into the meat of this. Workstation matters, the purchasing policy review. So in the last meeting, we had the purchasing policy. It was a copy of the old policy. A lot of you all thought, and I completely agree, that policy needed some changes and updating. So what I put together here is a worksheet, which we'll walk through real quick. That's item number 8. There you go. So what I've done is I've got the Urbanna policy here. Mr. Edwards was able, I ran this through him also. He gave me a copy of the West Point policy. And then our attorney put together a policy. So this is a comparison on the table here of 3. What page can you keep going? So that time, let's walk through this one item at a time. We need to make some decisions as to dollar amount, how much paperwork we want to have, like do we want to have formal CO process, that sort of thing. And then based upon what we put together tonight, we'll then get policy drafted and then we'll vote on it in the future. Again, this is kind of open, so I don't know if y'all had time to review this material. There's a bit here. I'll try to walk us through it. The decisions to be made. So basically, work through these block by block. Decision 1, routine purchase tier, small buys with no quotes. So our current policy was there's no guidance at all, anything below $1,000. In practice, because the policy wasn't kind of getting followed, it wasn't even, sometimes that wasn't really followed. And I believe with inflation and kind of the routine purchasing we do $1,000 is probably a bit less. In West Point, they have department heads authorized up to $1,000 on their own, and they're not required to have a second payment going on. Competition is not required.
Well, other than like office supplies and such like that, what comes around for under $1,000?
I know stuff the other day.
Like, I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, like the other day.
Terminator.
Yeah, well, other day I asked for whiteboard. About that, and I'll just put that.
Sometimes we're in situations where we might need some limbs trimmed in a hurry. There might be a dangerous area that we need to get some gravel. Just things pop up, and in today's society, really the $20 bill is the new 100. So things, have gone up so much in price. If you keep it at $1,000, then I will use the parking lot at 80 between ABC and something different. If we get it graded, trees trimmed, and gravel, that's gonna be more than $1,000. We normally call around, or we have a person that we use on a regular basis, and we get discounts because of that relationship. But if you're gonna make it $1,000, it's gonna increase staff workload and the delay in some of the repairs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so basically, it's kind of in bands, like dollar amounts. So we're
Right.
saying if we say we pick $1,000, same as West Point, and basically we're saying below $1,000, as long as, the department head, or in this case, really, we don't have department heads, it's
Right.
really the town administrator. But those are just sort of routine purchases that are not really heavily reviewed, not
And
that are
they're
not
free,
reviewed.
and that should not, if they're just routine stuff, I
Yeah.
agree, they should, that's real.
Table it because in some instances, council needs to know how much something costs. And we're trying to get a base level as to what that cost is, where we don't have the mayor or the administrator or anybody
Right.
signing checks for an amount over what we think it should be, when it should have come to council to begin with.
Absolutely.
But I think we're talking about $1,000.
No,
Yeah.
It may not even be talking about $5,000.
And so that would be the next question, and maybe we should skip to question 2, because question 2 is the town administrator approval ceiling, where the town administrator can just go ahead and approve a purchase without having to go to council. Our current policy, it was $5,000. In West Point, it's 1,000 to 10,000 that the town administrator can approve. And Gerard's policy left it blank for us to decide. That's question number 2.
I think the $5,000, because that's what I know it had been before, so anything that, over $5,000, I think we need to know, because that is a major purchase after that.
Absolutely. I mean, $5,000, $4,000. So,
But if the air conditioner goes out, they need to fix it, $4,000.
Emergency.
In there, $5,000, there it is.
Yeah, one of the things, and I'm not so sure that there is on the last page of this, there's a section on emergency provisions. Because like an air conditioner going out, in my mind is an emergency.
Public safety.
Right.
That's
Right,
like
public
public
safety.
safety. And that's not what we're after. We're
No,
after
I mean,
to make sure that items that, council needs to know.
Well, basically, council needs to know about everything.
Yeah, right.
Routine
Yeah,
stuff,
you're
fine,
right.
we need to
I don't
still
know
know.
if we need to, but we need to know about $10, whatever.
I know, I agree, but, just to,
Yeah, right.
we need to be really well informed.
Absolutely. I
there
agree with
was
that.
the same policy before, as I said, at least we thought it was a policy, but people did go by it. But they still told us, when it came to the meeting, hey, last week we had to, whatever, I can't pull any out right this minute, but we still knew out of the $5,000, they had spent $1,500, or, just saying, hey, this happened. Right. So, at least we still knew. Anything over $5,000, we need to know, because there's a whole lot of money that walked out, well, didn't walk out, I'm sorry, that's not the right word, that had to be paid out that we never knew about, and I don't want that to ever happen.
We don't
again.
need that to happen at all.
absolutely not.
So do you all want to go ahead and settle question 2, it sounds like, that we put the town administrator, is good up to $5,000. That was the policy that we had in effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's settle that one. Skip question 1 for a little bit. Basically, question 1,
I think in today's world,
I'm wondering if it was.
well,
you think it's low?
You don't think so?
No, sir.
No, I don't.
Not
think
with what we've just been through.
I would say, the only thing I thought of is that we could institute this at $5,000 and put it in an inflation clause that it follows the inflation rate. If we didn't want to have to revisit this thing all the time, but honestly, I don't even think, that just seems overly complicated.
I don't think you want to do that. I think it needs to be revisited.
Whenever it's
At least every
necessary.
year.
Yeah, I think it does need to come up more.
Yeah, right.
Well, is reason, not, we're bringing attention to it.
Right.
That is a big, so that everybody has to do. I'm saying, we haven't lived on it fast, but we have.
Right.
So, 5,000, whatever you come under, I'm all over it.
All right, so the town administrator with this decision can spend up to $5,000. And anything above that will get reported to the council. Now, on the question one, it actually clarifies it here. I didn't read it to you, right? The routine purchases we were talking about, $1,000. That limit, whatever number we pick, doesn't have to be $1,000. But below that limit, we don't have to have any sort of formal additional quote, right? We need a light board or whatever. Off the supply that you beat up on, but
Right.
Honestly, in practicality, Michelle's excellent at finding the deal, and so whatever this limit is, that limit and below, we can just purchase things. We'll do our best internally to control our costs. We always have as a matter of practice, but there's no formal requirement in this policy that dollar amount and below that we have to go out and get multiple formal bids. We just do our best.
Right. Yeah.
I think, I do that 1,000, go up above 1,000, but I think you need to at least have a bid of, at least check prices.
Okay. That would be now, get the question, decision 5, quote requirements. Well, that's an understanding. So our current policy is 3 quotes, written or oral, which for anything between $1,000 and $5,000, and no less than 3 informal written bids over $5,000. West Point had left the regulations issued by the town manager. Policy requires competition over practice, so they were a bit looser. They didn't have a fixed number of quotes. They required. And you see the attorney's draft here says there's 4 tiers for amounts of blank. But at a certain point, 3 quotes are triggered, oral written attempts documented, 4 quotes from practical, formal sealed bids, RP with the public notice. That would be for the larger items.
Because the funds of our town were not required to have 3 quotes. Unless it's based on grants or a loan possible, but I know it's based on grants.
Right.
Yeah,
we are below the 3,500 resident limit, so the Virginia Public Procurement Act does not apply to us.
right. But I think it is good to get quotes, from outside the town as well. For our bigger bids.
Well, it would be from outside town.
Not always, but
Not
we've got
that,
them.
not that many people in town who do larger work. And I'm not saying there wouldn't be a chance, but you're gonna have quotes from inside.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we have gotten just quotes from inside town when we were gonna get quotes and just added on to in the old office and stuff like that too.
Right. Well, this is more about if it's above the $1,000 small purchase limit. Actually, you could just say if it's above the $1,000 small purchase limit, what do we want to do as far as getting competitive quotes? Do we want to require that we get competitive quotes? Are we going to trust? We're just not going to put a policy in at all and just let the staff, the administrator, do what they think is best. Those are the opposite ends of the spectrum.
No, I-
You require paperwork, or you just let people run free.
Just because we've been led by,
Yeah,
they have in there for a reason.
right.
Not all it is, but we work.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
wanna-
and I-
Really good quotes.
I don't wanna leave it up to a town administrator
No.
to to decide that because,
Well,
We've seen it over that.
in this day and time, how many people get work done for over $1,000 that you don't get a written estimate anyway from somebody? I don't. I mean,
Okay, what if we're buying a computer?
You know,
Yeah.
that's still a,
I'm just saying, like, it's
I'm
easy.
I'm thinking more like, you know, workman work and
Yeah.
such like that, to do things.
And we haven't, in any of these, we haven't differentiated between services and products.
Right.
We just, it's a dollar
And
amount.
now maybe that's,
Well, what you do with your own money is one thing, and when you're looking after somebody else's money, which is town, I think you've got to be more,
Yeah,
diligent.
I agree.
Can I speak?
Sure.
I need to go upstairs.
Yeah, you could. I'm counting public session too, but sure.
As far as, you know, the town administrator having the ability to sign a check or whatever, that sort of thing. The council needs to come up with the amount that he would be allowed to approve. Beyond that, all of you and all of us have these things. If something comes up, make it part of the procedure. The council members will be informed. Let's say we got an emergency, it's $3,000, $4,000, something like that. That the council members know, and if somebody's got a gripe, get back to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Just so you know, Dan, the town administrator doesn't sign checks either,
Okay.
so.
yeah, they approve them.
They
But-
approve things to be sold, paid, but they don't sign the check.
But he's pushing the issue, right? To get things done.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, well, an emergency, that would be
yeah.
under an emergency. It's one of the items on here. I think we should definitely include some sort of emergency provision.
Mhm,
That's
absolutely.
totally
Yeah.
separate, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got something big going down, you know. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we need, our generator blows up in the middle of a power outage, we need to rent an emergency generator to cap, right? That, we don't want to hold down the paperwork.
Yeah,
Just
right.
Get it done.
Absolutely.
You know. But, and like you said, let council know what's going on. That's really the biggest part of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Transparency.
All right, so back to the quoting. Do we want to require a certain number of fixed bids, or do we want to go with the more of the West Point approach, where the West Point approach is they left it up to the town manager to write the regulations on the purchasing cost. I'll tell you, on some of these items, it's going to be close. It's going to be hard or impossible to get 3 quotes. I mean, it's tough, right? So,
Well, if you can't, then we can be told it wasn't free, here's what we got.
We're usually the 10th.
Right,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Kent could get 3 quotes if you can't, but
Yeah.
you can't say that it's going on.
If you get one,
So you're saying that, so this is going, he's gonna get the town administrator, he or she's gonna get the quote. And they're gonna approve them as well, if they get a quote and they think it's good, then they're just gonna go with it?
If it's less than $5,000
Okay.
on a budgeted item, you've got money in that line in the budget for something, and it's less than $5,000, the money's there. You attempted to get the 3 quotes. You got what you could, you picked the best quote, and then it's less than $5,000, then I'd say the town manager should have the ability to go ahead and
Okay.
purchase the item.
Yeah.
All right, skipping around a little bit in the orders on these. Let's see, decision 3. This is our current policy. Chair of the finance committee and or the majority vote by the governing body as written. So what that was is, that was your concern that you brought up in the last meeting, that the finance
Yeah.
chair had the ability basically to execute these purchases.
Committees,
and
committees
Yeah,
don't,
and or, right, exactly.
committees don't make the decisions. Committees, they make a decision and then they bring it to council. Council ultimately is the sayer, not a committee person.
so finance, the council.
No.
No, we've got a couple citizens.
And you want council, certainly law, do something.
Yeah.
With finance committee. He or she may not be a council. And actually, he or she is making decisions for him. That don't make sense.
Yeah, that's why everybody on those committees makes decisions.
All right, so our three choices are, and what I'm hearing is this first one, no committees here. The administrator can purchase up to the ceiling, which we just set for $5,000. Anything above that, the council approves.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
But anything, 2,500, 3,000, we are aware, made aware.
And that'll,
There were things in the last several years that somebody called me and asked me about, and Andrew was talking about, we've got 3,000 and what, and I think even if it's just a list on a piece of paper that's thrown in front of us at the meeting, these are the things that.
I'd like to ask,
Well,
let's put it on.
usually that's when the administrator's report takes them, but that's my experience. Personally, on council, whether there's things, there's a fellow. That we had to do
So
something.
most have a council meeting to show the appropriation.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't know if we have done, maybe it's too before, I don't know, but I know the county, what they got, people, we,
Right.
But it is an appropriation.
pardon me?
I think it is an appropriations, committee, board, whatever, appropriations line item that they report every.
Yeah, in their packet, each one,
Supervisor, yeah.
you can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that's what we, that might be too far.
So this decision, basically, we're kind of pulling the finance committee out of the purchasing process. Finance
I think that makes sense.
committee is going to be budgeting. That's what it's been
Correct.
operating as long as I've been here. And honestly, until I found that policy, I didn't realize how much power I had as finance chair. Like, man, I could have bought all kinds of stuff.
When you told me that, I said, no, you can't. Committees don't decide. I had to, had to rein that in. Yep.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't, it all needs to be a budgetary committee.
Well, that read that way, but also the committee thing says you can't be, you raise the count. So that might.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't budget that, but
Right.
for a second, I saw a brief amount of power there.
They're also,
Yeah.
All right. And then put decision 4 here, is a council approval trigger, which I think we've kind of answered in decision number 5. I'm sorry, in decision number 2, which is our current policy is anything over $5,000, it had to come to council. West Point was council approves everything over $25,000. And below that, an appropriate budget line is authority enough. And then the attorney's draft is just blank. So what we're basically, we kind of answered this already in decision 2, which is that anything above $5,000 is coming to council.
Yeah.
And they also delegate a lot to their department chiefs, because, school system.
And we have what?
We don't have
department. We have a water department.
what they're doing with this probably a lot.
All right. Moving on, exemption list. Our current policy has a whole bunch of exemptions. Utilities, postage, legal service, maintenance contract, contributions. I kind of understand this. There's stuff that we contract every year, every month, and they may be over, say, $5,000. You all, or us as a body, I don't think we need to see that all the time.
No.
Budgeted items.
Yes. Yeah. So, good.
Can you tell me what the 13, I know you said utilities, maintenance contracts, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
What are the other
The
13?
incidents, because I put the old policy in the packet. I did not. I put the proposed 2 new policies in, and I did not give you the other.
Okay.
One of the items on there was legal services. I do know that. And that is a little.
Well, but see, but it'd be like whatever we're paying Andrea, it's a normal contract. So
Right.
this would be additional legal services, and I'm wondering why we would not want to know, because I
Exactly.
don't think that should be exempt ever.
No, I think absolutely, we're going for outside legal counsel. Counsel needs to approve.
Well, so we would approve it anyway, because we had to have outside legal counsel, which is going to do it. We could follow, we would,
Well,
whatever.
that's what I was asking,
So-
legal services is
Right.
exempt, exemption is
Yeah.
vague, and I
Right,
don't
no,
like
I
that.
agree on that, I'm just saying, we would know anyway, we know they brought it forward before when we.
We don't know. We just know. We need.
No, we knew when we
You
were,
may have known, but not everybody.
no, I'm saying we knew when they came to us and said they needed to hire the outside guy for so we knew that, we didn't know anything else after. But- Right.
So our choices here is I'll put it together. We could add a recurring payments carve out.
Right.
So basically, if it's, you know, a utility, debt service, payroll, previously awarded contract, you know, those are exempt from the
Correct.
competition and the approval because that's a reoccurring thing.
Right.
Now, clear, I think maybe this needs to be added into the language. You know, we go to shop for these contracts. Those need to be bidded out. I think that, you know, that needs to be competitive. We don't want to just hand the contract to the only person that we just pick somebody, right? Like say the trash service, for
Right.
example, right? That sort of thing.
People that take care of the pool.
But yeah, but the payment to the trash that happens every month,
Right.
we don't, as council, we shouldn't be, I don't think in the business of approving that. We approve the contract.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
then-
So we already have it.
Yeah.
We've already, you're exactly right on that, Robert. That is the thing, yeah. That's the differentiation.
So, all right, well, I think we need to put what I just said in words then. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Facilities, but
Mhm. But when the trash or lawn service or, you know, the landscapers and stuff like that come back up to the contract, it needs to go out for bid.
And we always have done that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, on this particular question, Andrea's language, she may have been, I'll look at the actual item in the package here. She probably was going after exactly what I just did, is that, you know, we take a bid out the contract, but the actual payment, you know, like the
Yeah.
trash ones, pretty, like $8,000, you know.
Yeah.
That won't show up on the $5,000, and that's how we've been operating.
Right.
All right.
Once the
That's
budget's
normal.
approved for that year.
Yeah.
That money is paid out,
Right.
Okay, we approved the total amount.
total amount.
All right, question 7 was about professional legal services. Again, this came about because of the attorney for the purchase. I think we've already answered that. We're gonna, sounds like you all want to pull that exemption out.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Explain.
Well, kind of goes to question 6, which is what were we going to give a list of? The current policy had a whole list of different services that were just exempt from purchase, which is kind of unusual. So we
I got it.
We just
want to
filled
pull that one off.
yeah, we make sure, again, kind of directly going after the issue. All right, purchase orders. So I've given Michelle to talk about this. When we go to make a purchase, most places have a purchase order that has to be filled out, you know, the additional layer of paperwork. You know, Michelle, you, not to put you on the spot, but you were telling me that
So my financial system, automatically will create a purchase order for every single check we pay out. So there's no need to create one and then to create another one. It will be created when I enter the invoice into the system. So if we're going to Joe Schmo's over here and they ask me for a purchase order, you know, do we have to have that? The answer is no, because it'll get assigned at time of payment.
Purchase order should be before the purchase
That's,
and approved, not after purchase on payment.
okay, that would be a change.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons for this, is that,
If you're gonna use purchase order.
right, the question is, do we want to use purchase orders? So right now, we don't.
If we keep track of it.
I think, I've never worked for a company that did not use purchase. It's a common practice.
I agree, everywhere I work, I've had to go.
Common practice, you're gonna buy something, you're gonna issue a check for it, purchase.
Do we want to set a dollar amount when that takes place? We want to, or we just want to do, was the options here, and this is just what I pulled out of the different sources. Like I said, our current policy is we don't have a purchase order. I guess it's retroactively getting applied by the county. West Point requires a purchase order on every item over $300, so the really small stuff just gets bought. And then the attorney's draft here had that we just keep solid record keeping on this stuff. We retain our quotes, bids, our justifications if we go sole source.
Well, I think what the attorney's saying makes better sense for us. We're not a huge town, we're a little town. We got limited staff that just puts more work, with a purchase order. And I've never noticed really to buy anything except our bucket truck.
Well, no, I mean,
So,
book was, in all honesty though, at the cable company, if I had to run to the hardware store and buy some bolts, I had to have a PO for it. It didn't matter the dollar amount. Couldn't put anything on any account without purchase order. Which, you know, the point of that is to prevent fraud, somebody going in there and buying stuff on
Did
our
we have
charges
any
to our
fraud?
accounts.
Did
And
people
that's
gone
the reason. We haven't had an issue.
But I mean, any company.
no, I'm just
What you
asking
saw
if
was
we've
gonna
had
be
it.
the purchase.
No, I don't know of any, I don't know
Well,
of
then
any
you have
fraud.
to set up a PO system
Right.
prior to, they have to take their purchase of what they want to purchase and to do, and Michelle's gonna have to put out a purchase order to that company.
Somebody, I mean, it can be a form that's, it's blank, and they fill out what they want, but you're gonna need a signature. Town administrator, mayor, one of the members of town, well, we define who sign it, right? But, you know, somebody's gonna have to be around to sign it. Right now, if Steve needs something from the hardware store, he's to go get it and charge it to the account.
Right,
It's never been an issue.
right.
So I'm sort of torn on
Well, I
both
think
sides.
we can do it up to a certain amount.
That's, okay, that's one of the options here. Anything over $300, anything over 500 to 1,000, which is the 1,000 limit, you know, then you trigger into the other categories if you wanted to do that.
I think anything over maybe $300, you definitely ought to have a purchase. Or $200. Well, let me tell you, you don't want to see, need something real quick, gotta go to the hardware store, gotta wait for purchase. No. But anything at least $300. You should have a purchase order for.
Something you gotta think about it buying.
Hmm.
If $300 is something you gotta think about buying.
Yeah.
You know, bolts, no.
No, yeah.
But West Point's $300, I don't know.
How's the purchase order gonna, we just ordered microphones and speakers. The total bill was $500. How do I assign a purchase order hypothetically to Amazon? When you're, both of the things, how do I assign a purchase order? I just ordered Sam's Club, toilet paper, disinfectants, all the stuff for both of the marina, the pool. So when I place that big order, it might be a couple $100, but it's getting split up into 3 or 4 locations. And it's all being ordered online. So I'm not required to give an online purchase. The Ace Hardware, they have a list of approved employees to make purchases. If you go out there and you ask them and they don't know you, they're going to ask you for your driver's license. and they have done that. We have very few local charges. Most of the things we order, other than, well, we just got playground mulch. That could have technically been a purchase order because it was ordered, but a lot of the things we're getting is coming offline these days because of our location.
Really, this is a decision on how much control do we want to implement, right? Do we want to leave things the way they are, or some of the smaller items?
They leave them as they are.
Or we want to put an additional layer that we haven't had before on this? And that's really the question. After working up there, I haven't seen where we need the additional control. But to Mr. Murray's point, I've also worked under the other systems, and I understand the reason.
No, I understand you do, but I think we trustworthy staff.
Sure.
Just had a question with the system. Does it have a way to link purchases to an account? So when you create that purchase order, like for the mulch, goes to maintenance. And then does it link it? If the system doesn't, then you're creating an issue.
Yeah.
No, everything has to come through me.
Gotcha.
So everything that goes through the financial system, because we're so tiny, it made sense when they set up the system that we use. We have the 3 layers. We have the bill that comes in, and right now Robbie's approving them, or the town administrator would approve the bill before I send it.
Hold right there. So I think to answer your question, when I go to approve the bills like that mulch, if I'm not sure the money is in that line item, that would be under the park. It's under ground somewhere. It's under a line item in the budget, right? So I'll make sure that there's money in that line item for that mulch. And then she codes it. She's usually already coded it to that line item. So to answer your question, I think that's what you're talking about. Ties it to.
Yeah, well, for a purchasing system, I just wanted to know that the system actually ties. Could you put an account in the purchase order that says I'm buying this, and this PO is moving into that account? So when you're creating the POs, you're not trying to worry about splitting where each thing you're buying on a order from Amazon. You can say I'm ordering toilet paper for this, mulch for that, whatever.
No, the purchase order goes hypothetically Amazon. Okay, so the PO is going to be assigned to that payment, not necessarily single purchase.
And that's probably my answer.
Yeah,
It
so
doesn't.
if it's coming, if I'm buying and it's going to 3 locations, the coding for the budget designates which pocket of money is coming out.
So the other option would be under a certain amount, do we get purchase cards? So that you're not dealing with a purchase order, so that somebody can go if you've got an amount.
Well, right now they're using the store accounts, right? It's like especially the hardware.
Right. I'm just saying it's another option you can use.
Yeah.
You could think about it. If you've got a level that you want to set a number, you could say under this amount, they can use this card, and all of that gets tracked on a statement every month.
Right.
So, and you make one check.
It also kind of helps with, or if you disappeared and you disappeared, the second coming came, who knows? Where did
The other 2 signers,
Okay, well, that, my concern, my company, we use POs to know exactly where that cost went. And if I wasn't there, or my accountant wasn't there, everybody's there, it's in the system. Okay, this mulch got bought for that, 10 bolts got bought for that. And by the way, last year, why are we buying 800 bolts and they're going to be fine? Right. It keeps track. That's the only reason we use it.
the general ledger line keeps track of what you're saying.
And if we got that, then we don't have to worry about it.
We can do it with this time. Can't we get that $5,000?
Well,
Now look what you did.
no, I agree. Well, no, it's just I took and I went through these other purchasing policies, and these are the major points, right? I agree. We didn't have a pressing need to put in a VO system, right? This is just the major points of a purchasing policy.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think we have
if you want, we can pick the third option here is no PO system and leave things the way they are now. If you all, like I said, or you can put it into dollar amount if you want to track the bigger stuff. I would say if we're gonna do POs, we probably need to, I would say we carve this particular item out. We probably need to do more homework on how we would handle a system like that with the software and the resources we have. It almost probably should be its own topic. You all okay with that?
Yes.
If you direct us to
Yes.
come back to you with more information, we will. But I know I would have to get some training on our current accounting to do it. You know, I'm a little afraid of the administrative burden. I think it's terrible, but if it can be computerized, it would be okay. Got to be done by hand.
Yeah, but I believe we also have an upcharge on adding POs to the system. Does that change what we do?
I honestly can't answer that.
Yeah, see, we would
So
have to
if
do
we
some
more
homework.
stuff with it, we have to add.
It's the only safeguard you have, though, honestly.
But no, we have the check writing system, right? Even on the credit card, if you say we don't have PO, we buy stuff using the card, or we go to the store and charge the account. The safeguard system right now is the approver of the bill. In this case, it's the mayor, town administrator, right? And then the check signers then approve checks. So that bill gets looked at three to four times. That's how we've been doing our accounting.
Yeah, I don't sign any checks until I know, I look at it and see why I'm signing this check. Not because somebody else has already signed it ahead of me. But I look at the bill as well, that's attached to the check.
How was it determined who signed it?
The signings on the accounts, correct? That's
I'm a signer.
Do we not vote on that?
The council?
Years?
that.
No, never.
Never.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know if it's,
Not that I have a
What-
problem with you signing.
Right, no,
Yeah.
not that.
It's, in the past, the way it was determined was, I'm on the accounts, but I never sign. But to have access to the accounts in order to provide you the information that I do and handle any problems with discrepancies. It's always the mayor. Then the next one in line was the finance chair, that they would know because they know the budget. And then we would have one or two other signers because of the fact that it requires two signers. If, Martha, you're on vacation and you're a signer in the situation we are right now, I'm very carefully planning when I'm cutting checks because I need 3 people, always.
Right.
I need the approver first, and then I need 2 signers. And those 2 signers, you know, I can tell you what Mary Bell's the other signer because she's right there in the office. She will look at the check, she will look at the invoice, and she'll put a check mark that my check matches that and what it's for and all that. So with this situation right now, if Mary Bell or Marjorie were really ill, I'm out of business. I can't get anybody to sign a check. So that's something else that we need to look at is to add that other signer because Mayor, in the past, Mayor Goldsmith was a signer. Robbie was a signer because he was on the finance committee, but we're a signer short. So you also
Robbie
have
can't
that
sign.
4th person that any time can come in and look at what's being done.
Well, definitely. Looking at the finding chair concerns.
Yeah.
The finance chair is typically within the council.
Yeah.
Typically, but not
It was
always.
Robbie, yeah.
I mean, that change sort of with a test, again, the point, both sides are not necessarily fine.
Yeah.
But I think the council can probably be one time, yes.
Okay. Which, that was one of the items in the last section. So on the PO,
We're gonna
hold up on the
revisit that.
PO, do we want to just table the PO thing for now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. On the last section, we have, this is a list of additional items that were found in the other policies. The monthly obligations report that this would be a report that anything over a threshold that's blank would be on a report to show that it's an open item to be paid. I'm not sure the administrative load on Michelle on that, but so we'd have to look into that, but I believe it's going to be done by the report. I think our current reporting system works fine. Check signing separation, this is what you all were just talking about. The practice that we're using, I don't know where I haven't found where it's codified, it's not written anywhere, so we could put the policy that we're currently using for separating our check signing powers in the policy, which I think is a really good plan.
Also,
Yeah.
oh,
You want me to tell you where it came from?
We don't have to have two signers.
Yes, we did.
We,
You want to know where it came from? When the state police came years ago and took all the records and the auditors came in, it was in their recommendation, and from that day forward, we follow what was written in that audit from the state board.
All right.
okay, so the recommendation is not.
It hasn't been put into any sort of actual policy. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just put it in there. It should be that. I don't think it'll be that big.
Yeah.
There's an unauthorized purchase clause, but, if, all right, I'm trying to find the detail on it. Under Andreas, there's an ethics and gift ban and a softened unauthorized purchase clause with the council ratification tab. Basically, if you look through here, it's kind of what do you do if somebody does violate the purchasing policy? Probably a good thing to include. Our current policy doesn't have anything about it. What do you do if you break it? Basically. Another item is the emergency and sole provisions clause, which we've talked about. I think we definitely need to include. So again, the generator blows up at the water tower in the middle of an ice storm, and we got to get one in here. We don't have to call a meeting to get approval.
Yeah.
And then the final item is in Andrea's option. She has an ethics section on referencing the Conflict of Interest Act and the gift ban. That we have no sort of gift ban at all right now either. I'm gonna need gifts. I can tell you at the state I can't.
I don't recall this problem.
The gift of being on count.
There you go.
At the state, it's $10. At the state, it's $10. I can't take a free hat. I fly into an airport and they offer me a hat.
You might
can't
put
take
something in there. Maybe there's some.
Can you get a cup of coffee and candy?
I get a cup of coffee, but I got to buy a candy bar. Part of being a government worker. If y'all are interested in these, we can draft the language. This isn't a commitment to doing it, but you know, this unauthorized purchase clause in the ethics section, I think they're kind of one and the same.
Yeah, they are important.
And
They
so if you want it, we'll draft it and we'll review it to vote on it.
Because every 2 years, it's got to be FOIA and FOIA certified.
Okay.
So.
Well, if we don't put it in writing, then Marjorie decides to take a Ferrari for free, then he hasn't violated anything. All right. Are you all good with this? If we beat this one down?
I think we beat this to death.
All right. It's a bit complicated.
Monkey bait is banana.
Behind that, you'll see the town of West Point purchasing manual. You'll also see Andrea's draft policy. So I'll work with her to get this firmed up with what we decided tonight, and we'll have a policy for voting here soon. All right. You ready for the next item? 8C, Luna. So Luna is the sailing ship that's currently berthed in Deltaville. Someone came to me and said they were interested in coming to Urbanna. So I called Mr. Collmore about it. He actually was hoping to make the meeting tonight. He could probably give you a better sales pitch than I will, but I'm going to keep it brief. They come to Oyster Festival every year. It's two-masted sloop. And basically, talking to him, they were wondering about being able to berth at the town marina. So I called Joyce, the marina manager, and I asked her, where does it go? I kind of knew where it went on the big finger pier, right? And what does it occupy? If we offered berthing space to the Luna for the season, which I consider from early spring when they start to sail to Oyster Festival, then what would that cost? What she told me was it would occupy slips 34, 35, because there's an inside slip, because of the width of it, you can't get a boat in there. So it would occupy 2 slips. And if we gave it that slip or slips full time during the summer, it would cost the town $3,000 approximately in lost rent. Now that's if we just leave the space open to it. We don't rent it out. Talking to the Scollamore Seaport Foundation, I asked him, could we work out a schedule so that we would know when she's coming and going, and therefore we could rent the slips short term. Now I guess Joyce has had some people come and stay put a big boat there. They'll be there for a month or two. You just wouldn't be able to do that, but it would reduce our amount of lost rent. But in short, it would be $3,000. Talking to the foundation, they would probably use it anywhere between a weekend to a week a month. They probably wouldn't be here for full time during the summer, and they would interested in being able to start offering cruises on it between Deltaville and Urbanna. So I don't know. To me, this kind of goes along with like if you had a diner and you invite the car club to bring their old Chevelles and stuff, park out front. We're not going to directly get anything out of it, but it's cool. It fits the history of this town.
We will get something out of it because it will bring people here. And we're gonna have a huge, huge following.
I just don't, I can't quantify it in dollars.
Well, $3,000 for a year. I mean, what are we really out for $3,000? If we have something that brings people here, and that's what we want.
Yeah. Well, and I don't disagree, but that's based on whether you have a bridge fixed by next year.
Oh, we're gonna have the bridge fixed, without a doubt. Oh, yeah. Do they always rent those large ships out?
Not all.
No.
They're all, I can think of one boat that will come and maybe spend a month and a half. And I don't know I know they were here this year, but I don't think they spent that much time.
No, it's not absolutely not.
No, not necessarily. I'm giving you the worst case pessimistic scenario. We're going to $3,000 hit to the marina rental budget. That's worst case. Otherwise, they aren't using electricity. I asked, where does he do his heavy maintenance? Because I don't want that thing going into overhaul on our slip. He said that goes off to a boat yard. It won't happen in the van. So
I think as long as they can give you a good schedule, they may only want it for a weekend, or they want it for a week. As long as you know when they're coming and leaving, you can walk around.
and use it as transient space.
Yeah.
That was my thought.
Yeah.
In a broad scope, this is sort of what public meetings all about.
Yep.
Bring things, culture. And economic, that'll bring revenues. We don't have a field tax.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Collimore immediately jumped on it. I wish he could have made it tonight. He immediately started talking about developing a marketing campaign, what sort of programs they could offer. And I said, look, I appreciate your effort, and we're certainly going to, encourage that. But right now, I just want to get a feel from council if they're even interested.
Oh, yeah.
This is a resource that we have control over, which is the slip. So if you want to give it to him, you can. Not, or if you want to halfway it and get a schedule from him, and just let me know, and I'll pursue it. But I thought it was a pretty good opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to him. Probably get a little simple agreement drafted up. I'm not trying to burden this whole thing down in paperwork. Just a framework of what we're offering. And
One of the boats out of Yorktown at Oyster Festival was talking about coming here next to the city, so.
all right, well, I will work on that. Have something for you. All right, this next item, 8D, work session matters, town administrator recruitment discussion. I am going to farm this out to Mr. Edwards. who will walk us through this. I have another worksheet that we kind of put together to walk through what we're looking for in an administrator. Begin the process.
Good evening, folks. Doing well. Appreciate the opportunity to be working with you on this. In your package, Rodney and I have been through a number of discussions about this process, and knowing that it's very important to you to find the right person to come represent you as your town administrator. There are lots of options you need to decide before you start that search. So following this model that to use with the purchasing policy, you're taking a look at the questions. You think we walk through decision points to talk about, and let's figure out what it is you think you want in an administrator, and then let's try to find you an administrator. In your package, there is the worksheet we talked about. There is a administrative job description that Ms. Austin provided. Look at that. And then I work on a couple of threads. One is a full-time administrator, and another is a part-time administrator. They're essentially the same, but full-time, part-time. And what's the benefits we do. Mr. Mayor, have I left anything out at this point?
No, sir. Then I do apologize. I clipped the old job description off. It looked fine on the screen, but it's not on I guess.
All right, so let's start this beginning. Full-time or part-time, give me your decision. What do you think you need your administrators to do? Whether it's full-time or part-time is going to then start this discussion about what should you pay your administrators in order to get somebody that does what you think you want to do. In your package, I started a survey, began looking at towns east of 90. All sides, because you're competing with all sides, whether they are smaller one I had here with Irvington being the smallest, about, Montrose, smallest, at 335, all the way up to Town Smithfield, to 9,100. The range in there. West Point in there, they're about 34, 3,500 people. You got Tappahannock in there as well, they're 21. You might say, well, we're only 500 people. What do we have for rates? Well, government is the thing, it's just a matter of scale. You still got your water system to maintain. You still got your systems to keep happy. You've got zoning to do. You got town facilities, parks, schools, so forth, to maintain. All of which the administrator is responsible for making sure happen. So it's a matter of scale. And also you have to think about who are you competing with? Are you going to hire a part-time administrator straight out of school, pay them a lower salary? They're going to come here, they're going to get their experience. When a job in Warsaw comes up, so they're going to jump ship and go to Warsaw and make more money. So, those are all things we need to talk about. So that's why we laid out the sheet and so start walking through it. Any questions before we start? The word. It is, sorry, there are no page numbers in the package.
Yeah, I'll put page numbers on it.
I need somebody to stand with me.
I got it.
Understand.
That's pretty.
I was all proud of myself because I hyperlinked the PDF, so Universe, if you click on it, it jumps to the right section. I forgot the basics. Next time we'll have basics.
I think you get it.
No.
So, what do you think you want? You want a part-time administrator like you pay him? You need a full-time administrator?
Which way step? What's Montrose do?
What's Montrose has gone to a full-time administrator.
They had what, 500 people?
So they have 353, and they're paying about $67,000. That was in 2024, was the latest number that I could find.
They still got it.
They have a new person out of college, right?
I'm not sure where they are in their career.
Irvington,
Irvington's got a part-time administrator.
So they've got
33,000 a year.
470 people, Irvington. They got a part-timer, 33,000.
Because we have a high budget.
Yeah.
And we have more assets. Is everything now water system? Sewer system?
They just built the sewer system. I'm pretty good friends with him. Well, who was, he just had to resign, the mayor over there. Done very well. And their administrator, I know a bit about. I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
Well, they've done a very good job for them, I'll say.
My understanding is you currently have about $100,000 in your budget for this position. And that was, you paying that every part-time position.
Which was entirely insulting to the citizens of this county. There is nobody in this, well, more people would come to me and say, I'd love to work in town for part-time instead of them.
Well, we definitely don't want part-time. I think the administrator needs to be here from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. If there's something going on at the pool, they need to be there. If there's a water leak, they need to go see what's going on.
Other duties is assigned.
And not Wednesday.
Say that, because that's the way my job was with the cable company. Other duties is assigned.
That's what
I
my people
worked all the time.
salary job.
But I'm just saying, not dog walking
You know, what my
on
job
a
is,
Wednesday.
come in for what's
At
happening, what are the duties.
$104,000 a year, he needs a lot of duties, and he needs to be working a full 8, 10 hours a day.
No, 8 hours a
No,
day
if
is
it calls over 8, no, that's fine, 10 hours a day.
Do what you have to do for
Oh,
salary.
no, yeah. Garth, when he was here, he did that with us. So, but anyway, we want, I want full-time, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, just like the rest of our staff work. No Wednesday, volunteering to walk dogs because you can. And do what's right by the citizens.
Well, question, sorry not to take over. That's at a full-time rate, but what if we could find someone that is retired and they only want to work part-time? Then are we open to that as a council?
I'm open to it.
I think this is really gonna depend on the candidates that apply. I don't know.
It depends on the person you choose.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of roles here.
Just have me up.
Well, there is, Christiane Savino, I live in town. You're gonna cut out a lot of really talented people. If you say that you're just you want to go full time, you can find somebody who is taking the VRS retirement. They're limited to 30 hours a week. And you're going to get a lot of experience. So I'm just going to throw that out. Don't cut yourself
But they're
short
not
on it.
gonna come out of retirement to take,
No.
because, use me as an example. What you're paying your part-time administrator, if you said that's what you're gonna pay full-time, I'd never apply.
Right, yeah.
Because I make that sitting at home on my pension,
Right. Most of us don't have that.
but that came from 30 years of working hard to get it. And I got
Those
it.
of us work hard too. We just
And-
don't work for employers that never pay us.
Well, y'all are talking about retired, and you know, I brought this to Robbie, and when I spoke to you, I brought this to you as well. I'm not saying you get somebody fresh out of school who just got their diploma on Saturday and hire them for Monday. I mean, even though that might work, depending on how they did in school, but a young person that's a go-getter, that can bring things here, that the older retired person just wants to fill up some time and be here 30 hours a week and not truly have a care. That's why I always have brought forward about getting somebody from school, whether it's a couple of years outside of school. I mean, look what Mr. Joe Quisenberry did over in Warsaw. I mean, he rock and rolled, and that's That was amazing, the stuff he did.
When we did that last time, nobody applied. We couldn't get anybody. VCU.
I never heard of us asking them. I know it was advertised on, VML, but anyway, that's my thought.
Well, you should pick a direction, full-time or part-time, and try it. What are your preferences? See who you get to apply. You may get somebody with a few years of experience to go through. It's gonna do a great job. Well, also, not everybody that's retired is gonna come here and be lazy either.
Well, I don't mean lazy, just,
I understand.
I don't mean it by that at all. I'm not saying they're lazy, but they're just not gonna be like the go-getters that, are younger and wanna see things happen.
Are they gonna be doing the zoning too, the zoning as well?
Well, that would play into the part-time decision, right?
Because before, a long time ago, we had two.
Before, and that was part of the justification for the salary for the last administrators, that he was filling two positions.
But he didn't want to
And he
do
wasn't
it.
taking retirement.
Right. But he didn't
Right.
want to do it. They
So
were
he
supposed to be temporary when we first hired.
In this situation,
Yeah, John.
That, even though there were issues with it, looking back, it was probably the best situation.
Right, and we had
Since I've been on.
And then we had the same thing with Roy and Garth, that came up to the salary we ended up paying our last administrator. Their two salaries. Neither one of those took benefits either, so.
We tried this with retired people. Tried it with retired, not eligible people. My thought is, so awesome. We need to be looking at somebody right there. Not necessarily male, not necessarily female, not necessarily white, not necessarily black. All of those.
Yeah.
And see what we come up with. And then if that doesn't work, then we start looking at retired folks.
Those people that.
Yeah.
Andre, younger people. Andre, here.
I'm worried about Andre. I'm sorry, Andre.
Well,
But you're right, Andre's decision.
okay, so let's talk about seasons. I'm just bringing up talking points here. I'm not weighing my opinion. You get somebody fresh out of school. Now, they come here, they never actually run a town. So you've got me, the mayor, who's learning very quickly on the job, but let's just say I'm still green, and I will be for quite a while. And then we get somebody, in theory, even greener than myself in the seat. So just think about that.
May not be a fit.
It may not be, and hopefully they're younger than me, and they like going out and fixing the love sign and weeding, right? But
We haven't been able to get anybody since I've been on campus. To go after prices. We just haven't. I mean, they look at me like it's fun. And we've got these folks that have been retired, and I'm not. I don't want to. It makes it feel like they're doing me a favor by them being. That's not the way it should be. And that's sort of what I get from you. I mean, we are small, but we got a wire. We got a special place. I don't know where they live. That's the problem. But I think we need to change. And I don't want, we've just been through a big explosion. Why go back?
Right.
Grant, if we have to, that's okay. That's just hilarious.
Everything depends on the right person. We have to do an ad some sort of track. Given choice.
Oh, we had six last time.
You did.
You want to tell them that?
Yeah.
All right, we have a comment.
Regardless of who we get through that, we need to hire somebody that wants to work for the town and for the people. And just not fill up a chair in office.
Yeah, I mean, since what you're really doing here is giving him marching orders, And don't shoot yourself by giving him marching orders that we want a senior citizen or we want a student.
Right.
You need to be wide open for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And let's face it, whether they're fresh out of college and they're trying to make their name for themselves in a hustle, or whether they're retirement and trying to make 5 more years, we're not talking long term, so you can't look at it that way. But just be wide open in his direction so he doesn't chase one thing. I think you're open for anything, right? It fits.
Right, that's what we were saying, to have them people apply, but,
But we do at least need some parameters when we advertise.
right.
Are we advertising full time? What is the salary range we're gonna have? Those are gonna be important things actually.
Well, that's, it's experience. So that's why I go back to the zoning administrator. What are we gonna do about the zoning? Is the administrator gonna do the zoning too? Or do we need to pay for 2 administrators? So we need to look at that.
Ms. Wilson?
Why don't you come up as a council with what qualities you're looking for, not an age, not a gender, not a whatever, and describe what you want so that you can advertise that and you get the right person. Is that already listed? I didn't read your.
I mean, I don't care if they're 84, but if they come and do what we've done and try to bring somebody here, I don't care if they're, 22 or 82. But we just have to have them do things, because we haven't had that.
Right.
We have not had that.
I think for a town the size we are, I don't see why one person can fill both roles, zoning in town manager.
And that's when you're gonna pay what we were just
I don't
paying.
I'd say zoning involves everything.
Yeah.
It's,
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, but here's.
wish we never did it, but we had to. But, it had to be done. And I was on council when zoning came through in 78. And it's not anything I wanted to do, but I knew we had to do it.
I think you are over on
But I don't think it bogs things down. And what happens is if one person's doing it, they're trying to do something else that's positive, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call, and zoning can take a massive amount of time.
Okay.
I mean, I think we ought to be thinking about part-time zoning first.
I would agree.
So, yeah, he's absolutely right. I've been living it.
Right. But we also have free help, because the new zoning administrator at the county, Joyce, whose last name is Gadsden right now, is very good. She has offered to help us in any way she can, for free, okay, for a sounding board, all right? So we call up and say, hey, what do we do about this? Here you go.
I didn't put the zoning question on here, and really I should have. I have thought, actually I thought of this in the last day or two, what if we just advertise for an administrator? And for zoning, we don't hire anybody. We don't go back to the administrator zoning person model that we had. We just contract our zoning out. Contract it out, see what the costs are running. We may find ourselves in a position, though, where those contracts are starting to cost enough money that we're better off bringing it in-house. Right now, the zoning load's been pretty decently high. This is the busy part of the year, and I haven't been there a whole year, but I expect to see it fall off in the winter, kind of like town activity does overall. I've had, I don't know, probably a dozen zoning requests. Michelle made the mistake of telling me that she had the town for 2 months and never really had much zoning the whole time. Nothing but zoning.
Well, why can't, as Martha said, very reasonably, shouldn't use the county zoning
Just
administrator.
for an ear and help,
She
and
wants to
guidance.
help us, and then we
Yeah.
have somebody that a consultant, maybe that we have on call.
We could, but you could be certain if we start to do that, probably going to want to formalize it.
Right.
I haven't reached out to the county to see if they're open to it. I mean, maybe we could,
You can't pay for it, like that.
yeah, I don't
And
know.
it's just consultation and advice and such like that for free. But at least it's a starting point for when you get
It'll
stuck.
give somebody, Robbie or whoever, just if she's a consultant or somebody to
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
a question or bounce something off of, he's still doing the work. They're just answering questions.
Yes, but what I'm hearing is that sometimes he doesn't even know the right questions to ask or the direction to go, so at least we can have that covered.
I don't disagree with you, Martha, but I think down the road.
Oh, of course, but I'm just saying, for a start date, till we figure out what the heck
Well,
we're
that's
doing.
part of the reason for Mr. Edwards, he's here,
Yeah.
to cover, help cover the zone. And also, Katie and I just went to zoning class today, so I'm getting there.
Oh.
The reason I do get with you is
Yeah.
the taxpayer, you understand,
Actually, it's really,
and what they think.
right, right.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
but I think it would need some.
Well, yes, sir.
Question for Larry, talking about the zoning now, Urbana's only so big, there's not much left to split up or whatever. How much zoning do you think we need to do?
Yeah, there's a lot. Sometimes it changes.
Well,
Can I jump in and ask?
yeah.
Yesterday and today, I had 5 zoning complaints. And they could vary from trash, trees, parking, grass, but it all falls under zoning, and somebody has to take a look at that.
I think that's where we're wrong. If it's about the trash cans, the zoning administrator shouldn't be involved in that.
No, this is like trash in the yard.
Trash, they're breaking one of the ordinances that we currently have.
Right.
So you need someone to enforce.
Couldn't the administrator do that?
Dan, let me broaden this thing.
Help me out.
We have waterfront down there that, zoning, in order for us to maintain, maybe you don't want to maintain, maybe we want to be something, skyscrapers and all that kind of thing, but just because everything is filled up doesn't mean that we don't need zoning.
That's right.
Because you don't know what somebody's gonna come in and ask to do. And perfect example of it is the lawsuit we got for Austin.
There's lots of.
Which, I don't know all the history on that, but the point is, even though the land is there and it's something on it,
Right.
that don't mean somebody's gonna come in with a lot of money and wanna put something else on it that really isn't good for our community. Or it might be better, I don't know, but the point is, we need to keep zoning. Even though I didn't like it when they put it in, and when they sold us on it was like, and they said this, we're gonna give you a boilerplate type of zoning ordinance. Same thing West Point's got, same thing people use, same thing. And you gotta tweak it. So that's what's been happening over the years, we've been tweaking it over the years. But, sometimes you don't know what to tweak until the problem comes up.
Right.
And that's why we need zoning, we need a zoning.
So the county can't take a more active part now?
Well, I'm not saying they can't, but they would.
Well, I think it's a legal question. We're a town,
Really don't.
we're a chartered town,
We're
so
charged
I'm,
now, so, yeah.
What do you think? What are the small towns that you've dealt with? Do they have separate zoning administrators?
Every locality I've ever worked.
I've
never worked for a town small.
Yeah.
Full time,
Sorry.
full time?
There's somebody now trying to do something really big, and it's gonna take a lot for them to pull it off, and you have to have somebody who's in zoning enforcement.
I think that the answer to this question is, if we want the same person to do zoning and administration, they really need to be full-time. If we are open to doing a separate role, then we could probably get away with a part-time administrator, and actually it's probably preferred. Maybe.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm raising my hand. I don't know if you can see it. I have seen instances where counties have performed zoning work for towns, small towns in particular, but they usually want a fee for it. So there has to be like a memorandum of agreement, and it's not usually done for free.
we did that with police services a few years ago. That's all passed. So we paid the county so much.
Yeah, and a van of police cars that
Yeah.
I seen after I moved here at 2 o'clock in the morning, crossing over
Yeah.
cross, and I was like, what the hell? And then when I got down the road, it was gone, so it was like an apparition.
Well, that's all I want to point out, is that we gotta consider the zoning administrator and administrator.
Right.
And those are all major considerations before you have.
Because you're looking at your money, you gotta pay for two positions,
Which brings us back to,
part-time or full-time.
that two part-timers are probably gonna bring us back to the full-time salary we were paying before.
Yeah.
Any possibility, well, if they're part-time, then we're up in.
So usually like a full-time working at Montrose, get $67,000. That's what I was able to figure out online.
Is he doing the zoning also?
Good enough. Call me. I really, I said, tough to do it.
What do you think you could do? Do you think we could do full-time administrator, part-time zoning?
Well, that's what we've done in fact. And really, when Holly Gallagher's here and,
Don,
John Gill.
he did a good job.
I thought it was
John
good.
did a great job.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
But that was two.
Right. But see,
Oh, no,
Don-
I'm sorry, John was part-time.
John.
John was part-time, you're right. You're right.
I mean,
And
we have
he
to
was in
do
the
that.
same situation, he was semi-retired,
Right.
and had a pension, whatever it was, he could pay for something.
Right.
Something. But he did, as far as I know, you don't hear anything?
Right.
Have people that
He
do a
did,
good
yeah,
job.
he did a great job, he
Yeah.
helped our house, he's right there. But that, you know, I agree, I think the zoning administrator,
Yeah.
you cram them all together, it's too hard for one person to do all of that.
The reality of this gentleman's absolutely correct. The guy's 87 or 27. He does a good job. We want him. So you just gotta send those resumes out or whatever you send out.
Yeah.
But we need to know what we're sending out.
Right. We haven't decided if we're full-time, part-time.
We can't send out, it might be part-time, might be full-time, might be zoning administrator, and we have no idea what we're going to
I'd say full-time.
You need a full-time.
Mr. Tony?
You're gonna need, somebody to do zoning when this accessory dwelling unit law goes into effect next July, because it will allow a second dwelling on
Right.
any single property.
Not in a historic district, that's exempt.
You can stop in the historic district, but that's gonna be complicated.
We have to move on that.
It's going to greatly increase the density of our town.
And we also have to move on the hyperstore in case the guy that is marina decides to sell it to a developer.
Right, I'm with Alana, we need to get on
That's
that.
a whole different.
And something you put,
Zoning is critical.
yeah, I thought you hire full-time administrator.
I'm with Larry.
I think so.
That sounds like a decision.
No.
What did you?
No, I'm
say?
just jumping at
Just
this.
saying.
What did you say?
I said, well, Larry said, makes it, maybe a full-time town administrator, part-time, so. But I just think if you look, the administrator needs, if he's gonna be here every day, he's gonna be full-time, he needs to. We haven't had that problem, right? For a long time.
Well, I used to talk about the good old days when I moved here, the town was run, didn't have any more people, in fact, it had fewer people, the town was run by one guy, his name was Joe Green.
Yeah.
Hardwood and me.
Yeah.
And Joe did, I was living here then.
Pardon the
I
Lord.
moved the right. If you get the right person, they can do it.
I don't think we should be in a
No, we don't want to be in a hurry, as long as Robbie's doing it enough, I mean,
I'm going to send my wife over.
Yeah, I have the objection.
we don't want to be in a hurry, we've got to get the right person.
We're not in a hurry. I'm not going anywhere. I will tell you that unfortunately, the days of Joe Green are gone, because I spend a good amount of my time trying to not get myself or the town sued by breaking some sort of code.
I read
The-
more codes,
Yeah,
more.
it's not, the town has changed, the world around the town has changed
Right.
in a lot of ways, and it's just the reality of that. What I hear from you all, it sounds like you're leaning more to full-time. And I'm not trying to lead you down the path, but I'm also hearing you're open to maybe not combining the two roles together, zoning and administrative. We could try to see who we can get full-time. We can say zoning experience preferred and see who we get as applicants. Now, based upon who we get and like, we decide to hire, then at that point, we're gonna have to make a decision. Do we want to contract zoning? Can we strike a deal with the county, which is still contract zoning?
Right.
Or do we bring in a part-time zoning person? Now, the zoning quote I got per hour, this is from the Berkeley group, I got 175 an hour, I believe. So a zoning person process an SUP, we think man hours goes in an SUP.
Yeah.
That's got staff report.
How complicated and how controversial.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that one report could burn 40 hours easy, just depends on what it is that's trying to get put in town.
And $175 an hour.
If you put it there that we want part-time, maybe it's one of those retired people, that
Right.
I'd have an interest.
You gotta pay for that. So if we.
Well, you gotta go up and
Now, a full-time town administrator, I believe, can handle at least some of the basic zoning stuff, right? But again, gonna have to very carefully delineate when because it gets kicked into a zoning specialist. Right, somebody that wants a shed approval, we've got a lot of them. Want to build a shed, you send them a little form, it shows their setbacks, they come back to put flat. Or is that even legal? Can you do that? Would that then be in the legal zoning administrator?
It would have to be the government.
There's a catch to everything.
But you could have it set up to where you agree with the zoning, with the person, but basic stuff, that's your job. You're going to be the zoning. But we've got with this other company, whether it's Berkeley Group or whoever, that when you get a larger, more complex, they are there as Christians. Still comes down to the zoning administrators, one has to do the official work, the contractor will make recommendations.
You know, we had a little bit of a problem. The last guy that we had was a really nice person, but he was such a bureaucrat. And this is such a tiny town. I mean, he was doing things and halting things that were just absurd, like the Easter egg hunt at the Lansdowne plantation and telling him he had to keep his gates closed. And how do we figure out, how do you find that
It
person?
is hard to know that upfront.
Yeah.
But you need to set those expectations during your interview process.
Right.
When you're talking to the candidate, make sure they understand what your philosophy is. You're not here to govern every minute of everybody's life. You're here to be part of the community. You're here to protect the community, so let people live. Now, can't ignore the laws.
Right.
If you've got an ordinance on the books that says they can't do so and so and so, and a neighbor complains about it, can't ignore it. But yes, I have known people in my career that are gonna go out and look for things from the force. I've known people in my career that are real easygoing, that rise to the level that have to be dealt with.
That's what we want. But you gotta interview to find that.
Yeah.
And you don't always know that.
Interviews, check references, really, really.
Yeah.
So we also, we ordered to look at, we could change it, so it doesn't cost one business being full town so much money.
Correct.
And there's plenty of zone enforcement to be done. Tell you that.
There certainly is, but
What do you think we need? Full-time zoning, part-time?
Zoning ordinance needs to change. Katie and I were being very aware, we really need to get on the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
there's a lot to be done.
Yeah.
A lot.
that's why I think we need a full-time administrator, part-time zone.
So. if
What
we-
kind of money are we talking?
Well, there you go. So we just went full-time. So the lowest price full-time person I see on this list is Menlo. the way, apparently has just redone their zoning code. Mineral is apparently a bright spot in government.
Good
I'm
for
already-
them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, if you watch
Oh,
their.
yeah, you're the one talking about the
The
video.
video of their council meeting where they fired their administrator, it wasn't necessarily a break.
So we just decided we're gonna advertise at the level of mineral, and that the lowest price one is full-time on here is $90,000. And since we just decided that we were gonna separate,
90,000.
that's what it shows right here. The lowest price full-time person on the list.
Actually, Montrose.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm wrong.
Uh-huh.
Can't read, so long.
And also, I
You need to
think
advertise it.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
our region pays theirs part-time 33,000.
so we can say 33,000 to 67,000.
So they're gonna need money for the zoning administration.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I mean, what do you all think?
So what do you taxpayers think?
Well, I think this is kind of like one of those dating apps, though. You gotta pick something to go out the gate with.
Yeah.
You're always, once you get application, you're gonna be negotiating.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, can we talk about one more thing? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But you wanna put enough parameters in there so that you're not wasting your time, and you're not wasting their time. They need to generally know what you're expecting, and you need to have a good idea of what people are thinking when they're applying. They know that the range is 33 to 67. And that's gonna define who.
Right, who
applies.
was?
Are you going to be helping us do this?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
I hope so.
So
Yes, not starting already.
you probably have, an insight when you're talking to somebody that's a bureaucrat to sort of fish out if they're like hardcore and.
I'm a lifelong bureaucrat.
And so, but you're probably more of a laid back, lifelong bureaucrat.
I'd rather be that. I've been called a politician. I'm like, no, I'm not a politician. I'm a bureaucrat. We're lawyers.
Yes, Ms. Wolf.
How much of what you're doing right now, or what previous administrator zoning person did, was more town administration versus zoning? Like, in your opinion, from your experience, or Michelle, for the previous administrator, did you really differentiate, like, what amount of time?
I think it depends on what's on the zoning load. So I would say 2/3 of it is, administration.
Okay.
Today,
Majority-
trying to get insurance for Founder's Day, talking to Luna. But then I had someone call, they're looking at building an ADU and they want to sit down and meet and start that. Now, that's going to start a special use permit if they decide to pursue it.
Yeah.
And again, those are quite a bit of workload because all this staff report has to be put together. Then the zoning administrator has to set up the zoning commission meeting, put all that packet together, go through that process with the zoning group, and then take those results, put it together in this packet, and do the whole thing over here. I mean, I'm guessing 40 hours.
Andrea may disagree with me because she also does. Did you hear that, Andrea?
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
For the last 15 years. Just because it says the zoning administrator is responsible for it, doesn't mean the zoning administrator has to do every piece. That's where your consulting support can come in. That's where other staff, your clerk, others can help you with those advertising posts. The zoning administrator has to do all that stuff.
Like right now, it's all me, so I'm just thinking about what I got. Well, no, I'll get it.
So the administrator will pick up whatever the zoning administrator does. Is that what you're saying?
Administrative staff, clerk,
Oh, okay.
other folks. The administrative.
Yeah, there's things he'll need that he can't access, but maybe Michelle would have to, or, Maribel.
I mean, it sounds to me like a model of where the taxpayer is the zoning administrator, but they have that contract for it.
Right.
To help with the hard, might make some sense. Let me, and then if you determine from that, that, you know what, we need a separate position. Then you go for that.
Right.
So we had a little bit of a unique situation. We had the salary of the administrator, the labor. We also had the salary of the clerk. We don't have a clerk. You do redefined duties. Is most of these places, do they have a full-time clerk, or half-time clerk? That may be the other place. You know, what do I point at? Full-time clerk.
But she was also, I mean, it was dual too. She was the clerk to the town council, but she was the administrator to the town manager as well.
Yeah.
So there were other roles
Well,
too,
right.
other than.
We have a museum docent and as our, and clerk.
My point is, that we have more finances than just what we're paying our
Right.
troops.
Right.
If we can play with that, yeah, but
We do, but at the same time, I mean, the role of this council is to try to get the job done, use the least amount of taxpayer money as possible.
that's what I'm saying.
I see the numbers that Mr. Edwards is providing. I know that he knows what he's talking about. These are real. I still think it's too high. I just do. And maybe that's just me not being accepted, but I'm a lot like you all when it comes to that.
So is that what a person coming out of college expects?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't gone to college in a long
I started with a master's degree, making $26,000 a year. I was just paying the world. You did well.
Can we start low and just see who comes in and
Let's see who comes.
Well,
and then move it as we go?
so we could, here's another option. I've been running a lot of options in my head. You can tell I haven't made my mind up on any of it. Glad that this is the body. Talk about it, decide it together. Left to me, I'll be honest, I'll be tied up. We could advertise for an experienced part-time administrator. That will attract people that really do have done the job, that will bring that experience element in that we're currently missing. Right? They've done a decent job, but I'm gonna be honest. You know, that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring Mr. Edwards in. And he's already proven to be quite useful. Obviously. We could go ahead and advertise for that part-time administrator. As much as I would like to see a full-time person, as much as I think a full-time person will stay busy, you know, and we try to get it in that somewhere in that half. I don't know what to offer them for money, but say at the most we pay half of what we're going to pay a full-time person. See what we can get. Contract out the zoning and see how it works out. And then from there, we'll have to just judge how things are going. The zoning bills start getting expensive, and we hire a full-time zoning person. But if that part-time administrator is overwhelmed, probably because he is or she is a retired person, and they say it's just too much.
Right.
Now we're going to get forced into a full-time position.
Okay, let's do it.
And then
My only caveat to what you're saying is if you're gonna ask to do 80% of the work, pay in hand.
Right.
well, I'm going for what I want here.
Can I ask a question? How many full-time employees do we have currently at the town?
2.
So, just, I'm not trying to be ugly, this is just a personal thing. We definitely don't have to pay benefits if it's part-time, but you know, most full-time people, most big corporations even now are giving up paying benefits. And if they do any health insurance, they only pay a part because health insurance is so much now. So we need, that component needs to really get looked at too. And I know it's not attractive to try to attract people, but it's the reality of this world.
Well,
But that would be, would be full-time. People,
well,
you don't have to do it full-time, you know why? Because it's not required, because we have less than 10 full-time employees.
well, the agency, that's I have that concern. Well,
Yeah, no, I think that would be doing people.
I can tell you from a personal point of view, I make less flying to the state than I would in private industry. Part of the reason I'm there is because of the benefits I get. So, you know, I've always considered Versa the retirement package is a big part of the attraction. Unfortunately, I didn't get the really good pension back.
Right, they've changed it considerably.
They have. It's just like a hybrid 401k pension thing I got. It's not as
And
good.
we have to contribute.
They had to do that.
You also have to think if you were applying for a job, I'm not sure what you do, I'm sorry, but, would you apply if they were offering nothing, but you just come to work?
I've never
Monday through Friday?
lived in this county that for 40 years and nobody has ever paid me anything and worked full time. The only people that pay benefits in this county are they.
I had benefits when I was in Chapman.
You were your own boss, we're just.
Well, no, then I had to pay my cable company I had it was a really good part of the package, and then it started to fall off. And when I got switched careers and decided to fly, again, I picked the state job with the state benefit. So if we're going after a full-time person,
I hear you. I'm just
that's
saying we
a
don't
big
have
part
to.
of the attraction.
Well, I just think we need to possibly scale back how much we're gonna pay.
We did not. Sure. But,
I've been sitting here listening on, real quick, you know, it's no different than hiring somebody to run a pizza restaurant, you know, or a waiter or something like that. You know, you're trying to keep the best person you get for the lowest cost. So if, you know, the person on the other side of the desk is trying to get as much as they can and do the less work. My suggestion would be put it out there, part-time, do the price range from half of what you're saying to the maybe 2/3 of, based on experience. If somebody comes in straight out of college, has not a whole lot of experience, you got to adjust the price. If you get somebody that comes in, just like fellow that just left the county over here, that retired, he's got experience, so he's up the pay scale. But if you go just putting it out there, it's 33,000 to start, you're not going to get anything. You're going to have to do 33,065 based on experience, no different than any other ad in the paper for a landscaper or carpenter or something like that. You got to have a driver's license. You got to know what you're doing. Same thing a mechanic when I was hiring those guys. You got to start somewhere. Throw it out there, see what sticks. If nobody shows up, then okay, you're up to ante. If you get 2 or 3 people that show up and say, yeah, I can do it, but you know, I'm not looking for full time. I'll do the part-time thing, but I got to have 42,000 in full benefits. Well, if that blows the budget, sorry, can't do that. If you get nobody applies, then okay, don't recreate the wheel. Just throw it back out as a full-time position. But you're not going to know until you throw it out there, unless he's got 5 or 6 people in the wind that he can call up and may be interested in the job. But you're not going to know until you advertise it. And if you want to keep the budget low, the part-time is going to be your only option at that point. Put it out there, see what you get. Doesn't mean you got to hire them, but just see what kind of resumes you get.
Yeah, let's do it.
What are we doing?
Don't need to refine it. I'm not trying to
There's a way to put it out there, part-time.
You part-time?
Can you say, do you have to mention the salary? Can you say salary commensurate?
You're gonna get more attention if they know what they're applying.
And how many hours are part-time? 30?
30, if we go, again,
Unless they're not PRS,
Yep.
then it could be part-time. What do you think?
I will pick a range. I will advertise a range. I will put up to 30 hours, if that's what you want. I will be specific, because people are gonna want to know what they're applying.
Well, we can check our benefits on things.
yeah, that's part of the reason for the guy was I knew we would want to roll over the place. This is a hard thing to make it without some real.
I think we're hitting just about everything on the gas.
Yeah, we have hit everything on the go.
Yeah, because do people really look at, what's this going, when we're talking about posting, are we posting an ad, or how do we, is it going on state?
Typically, it would go in some of the organizational websites and so forth, like Virginia Municipal League, Virginia Association of Counties. You could do it in the, you probably would see in one. You could do it in like the international, the national organization. Not trying to get anybody out of the area, but maybe.
Yeah, I'm just
Go
not
on
familiar
your website.
everything, man, everything goes through a head on. I mean, it's all, and people deal with that more direct, so I was just curious. Have we thought about talking to, if you liked, or I don't know, if you like some jurisdiction, if we say, hey, let me have lunch with you today and talk about You ever thought about coming over to Urbanna? It's pretty on the side of the creek.
Well, we've got to decide what we
Well,
want to hire.
that's where these salaries hang.
Right. Well, you know where they are now, so at least you got a starting point.
So Warsaw, that has done great. They're 128,000.
But Joe Pusenberry did some awesome stuff there. He was working, and they got in 1,700 people. Yeah. Sharon, the tax.
I don't know, Robert, you might have more.
But the chances that you're gonna get them to leave there.
Some year,
They gotta be sweeter.
You're kind of an introvert. Do you want somebody older and seasoned more to work with, or do you want somebody young and energetic that'll learn from? Because I mean, how long would it take you before you master this job if you want to change careers? I mean, if you're energetic and you're intelligent and they went to school for it, they might be eager. Don't discount. Who do you want to work with? That's the biggest part, I would think.
Yeah, well, I can tell you for right now, for me, is that I would prefer the older, more experienced person because I am, getting my feet under me on this thing, but.
Sometimes the young ones are energetic, sometimes they.
Sometimes the old ones aren't. I mean,
It just depends on the person.
There's no one size fits all. I think one of the problems is, what do we need? Everybody thinks we need something different. When an administrator comes in, it just depends on who you are, as to whether you're gonna get what you want or not, rather than looking at the entire thing. Not coming in and asking, well, what do you want? But these are some, it needs to be someone who's got vision and some understanding. Coming out of college, he probably would have some understanding of what needs to be done to the challenge for Urbanna to survive. It's for nothing. And we need somebody, and they don't have to stay long, that has some vision that can get us money. They can, I mean, we got a old tobacco warehouse down there. We need thousands of dollars to fix. We need somebody who's got excitement and vision. If we're bringing up a part-time retired person, which I'm not going to do, bringing a part-time retired person, I think we can get just what we're there.
Somebody that just, sit back and get paid and get the work certified, doesn't it?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But
I mean, Mr. Quisenberry moved on too from Warsaw, from my understanding, so it's not like
well, I don't
you're
think
gonna
that's always
stay here
fair.
forever, as long as,
Well, should we follow, one of the other places, like 66,000 for part-time? We gotta pick a price, don't we, a range?
You should. We can put it out there without it and see what happens. But you're going to get people that are going to apply and
They're
are
gonna
going to tell you, I want 120,000. Well, you know that's not what you're looking for. You didn't tell them that when they applied, so
Right,
you're already
so
starting
you're
off.
wasting time.
Well, I don't make myself clear. I'm not saying I won't vote for a part-time person coming here in front of me, but as far as my recommendation, you kind of full-time, not part-time, part-time.
Yeah.
That's it. Doesn't sound like any people.
No, I think that way. I think we should go in and do an administrator that's part-time.
I don't care what their age is, if they're
Yeah.
good at what they do and they have a good personality and they are into the town and you kind of get the feel for them. I don't care if they're black, white, male, female.
I want a full-time person. My wish list says I want a full-time person. The part-time idea is coming out simply because of money, because of these salary prices here are hard for us to swallow.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
And the zoning administrator is in that price range that we have, right? I mean, we gotta get both for under 100 and
We have to
more.
hire a clerk. We need to do that.
Well, if you find one that has experience on both, he's worth 120.
Yeah.
You don't pay that for.
You're right. I had someone tell me that he helped place I forget what town it is. I think it was Eastern Shore. He placed a town council, a town administrator, zoning administrator, clerk. That's all your eggs in one basket. But You're gonna pay, but you're gonna pay. I mean, you're gonna pay more than what we were paying before.
Okay, move this thing forward, let's go with that time.
Well, I think we can take it, I think we should take it. We've waffled, all of us, especially maybe you, Mr. Green, we've all gone up and come back.
Well, I'm just saying that, but, I mean.
Yeah, I agree.
think most people want that. And you make a good point. Can't afford it. We don't need to find it.
We could afford it, but, you know, we're trading. The trade is, we're probably gonna end up paying a little more than we were paying before. I hate to say it. I really think that's what's gonna happen between the zoning and administrator. But it would be a full-time job. If we do that, by the person being full-time, the idea is that they would have the energy to really push forward the things that we want to get done. Now, if we want to keep this as a sleepy, sort of stagnant town, and we don't want to change things, I'm not saying a part-time person wouldn't accomplish it, but by chopping their hours to 30, you're not going to get somebody that's going to show up on a Saturday to the events. You're not, you know, or get called out in the middle of the night, most likely. You know, you're not going to get that person that's really all in the job, which is what you're looking for.
That's what I'm looking for. Why don't we try this? We've already got 104,000 budget. Why don't we make that the top? Let's start to range it 75 or 80. Let's put it out there for a full-time administrator, who's also your zoning administrator, and see who applies.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds good to me. Yep.
And if you get somebody, great, awesome.
Yeah.
We're not gonna like ruin ourselves by continuing to re-advertise different jobs, are
Mm-hmm. Let's say we go with it.
Right. So should we come back on this fix, like we had talked about? I'll bring a job description.
Okay.
With all that information in an annex, and we'll look at it, get you to bless it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That work?
Yep.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate your time.
You also
Thank you.
email them your ideas of what you're looking for individually, and then if you can file like your comments and suggestions. Quality.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I said, do you all want to email him the top qualities you're looking for in the position? And if he can look at the general consensus and create something that fits what you all.
We'll fill this little form out, bring it by the office, and I'll give them to them, compile. You don't have to put your name on it, just like, or can. Write whatever you want on there that helps. Again, I only have page numbers next to me, so it's a Blaine or town administrative press mayor for that.
That's why you needed to move.
Yeah, that's right.
But my computer background sounds through because, again, it was hyperlink, so read on.
Hey, I'm learning from him.
Thank you so much.
What is that?
Sorry.
That was part of the job description that Marjorie gave me, and
You know, not all of it, it's like a second grader, doesn't it? Can you put it in 99 or something?
I didn't hear you.
Sure you have a copy.
We are.
Pick up toy.
Right.
all right.
I don't know.
All right, agenda item number 9, public comment number 2. I don't think anybody signed up. Would anybody?
Okay.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Are they?
William Mayo, 325 High County. I know we want to get somebody that's good, but what are we doing about this bridge? That's old business. We never bring up old business. People keep asking me about this bridge.
Tell them to come here and ask,
Ma'am?
tell them to come ask Robbie about the bridge. You can't answer
Roger,
questions for them.
when we come to the meeting, it would
Oh,
take
no.
us 2 minutes to tell them.
I'm
No, I'm just saying, don't.
All right. All right, hold on. Here's your bridge update. The drilling crew will be here on the 27th to drill the core samples on the road. Then we've got to wait for the lab to come back. Once I get that, then I can hand that information off. I'm probably going to end up having 2 quotes that I want, again, it wasn't required, but I like competition. I'm hoping to have 2 quotes on a temporary steel bridge to go over the current bridge, temporary bridge, and not for $450,000 like was proposed here before. I'm hoping, well, I don't even want to say it, but it should be something that we can afford, even if we have to pay for it out of savings to get this thing open. I really want it open before Oyster Festival. I really, really want it open before Oyster Festival. So that's where we're at.
We can't get the Dragon Old Bridge in time, not bringing no bitch in.
You can do whatever you want. Now, can I get it insured? That's the question. And insurance has been the hang-up. So it has to be designed, it has to be stamped by an engineer. That's the hang-up. The insurance company gave us approval that if we've got engineer drawings and an engineering approval, they will insure it. Because insurance is a big deal. We can't have somebody falling off of it or breaking and we get sued. Y'all run me right out of town.
Real quick, just to make sure, just because it's my thing, we have made sure that cars will be out of the way, Jersey barriers will be removed, and nothing's gonna stop them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Tell them
Okay.
water. That drilling crew is going to be down there drilling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Already put the word out. The 27th is coming, and next week I'll start it on it. So.
We got a tractor, we can drag those Jersey balls all the way.
We don't have the light anymore, so I can't use it.
Anybody else for public comment number 2? All right, moving on to agenda item 10, council announcements and requests. Go around the table.
Second Saturday, there's a band called the Misfits that is doing a fundraiser for Second Saturday, because, we're self-supportive. So on Sunday from 3 to 6, they're gonna come here and play music and, do a fundraiser for us. And, we'll be selling beer at the event. Yes, from 3 to 6.
They're really great fans. They're awesome.
Yeah, and they do this for a lot of communities and towns, just different reasons that so they came to us and asked if we would let them do a fundraiser for us. So I thought that was pretty cool. So they'll be here Sunday 3 to 6 at the park.
Also, I don't have a flight, so I'll be able to help with the ice, then I got split. Mr. Tunin. Courtney?
No, I just want to remind everybody at the council, we've got a ban and a height restriction.
I have taken the ADU, I took the request, and Andrea is working on a briefing for us on that, at least on what the law is and how it directly impacts our current law. And then from there, hopefully we can get some guidance on how we move forward, what we can do. If not, ignored you on that. And I do agree, it's a very important thing, and today brought up, all of the zoning departments are really a big deal to them.
And so is the height.
Yeah, the height restriction got to be.
The one, Robbie, let me know when I can jump in.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay. The one thing I want to point out is that the effective date for accessory dwelling units is not until July 1 of 2027, which does give us time to plan. The state has passed a state law that somewhat directs what we're going to have to put in our ordinance in terms of regulating accessory dwelling units. But it is a very big deal, in my opinion, and is going to probably involve some practical issues like inventorying what accessory dwelling units are there now in order to know when someone is applying for a new accessory dwelling unit. So there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to do, and I will be providing you with much more on that topic.
Thank you.
But I just didn't want you to think it was like now, so we do have a little time.
But the state is advising that we do it in 26 as opposed to 27, even though the deadline is July 1st, 27.
Oh yeah, we should absolutely do it in 26. Yeah.
Okay. I have a printout of the law too.
Anything else? I'm sorry.
Nope, that's it.
Was, what they said, the height issue that we talked about.
What did you say? 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26. 26
That's on, I will tell you that I put on our longer term to-do list, honestly, when we get somebody more permanent. But
I'd like to see it before I leave, if possible.
or what if you don't need, and then, anything else?
No, that's where I am.
Any answer on that? Ms. Lowe?
Have a second, thank you.
Mary? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
You got a second?
Welcome, come on.
We did, we got it.
Well, your first meeting.
Or
do we have a second? Hold on, we have a second, we haven't heard yet.
I'm second.
All right. All right.
Thank you all for your questions.